Not yet.
Although that is some of the fun, right? So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm Darren Lynch, founder and CEO of Irish Titan. We'll do intros here in a second, but we're going to be taking a new look at loyalty as a business critical growth strategy. That's our official title. And I think that one of the benefits of this conversation today is the way we've structured it. We have one and only one merchant who is well versed in this, has a great point of view. And so we'll get to introductions here in a second, but I think there's a lot of gold to mine here. So thanks again for joining us, and in advance, I'll say that we hope everybody gets a lot of value out of this. Let's go through a little bit of housekeeping, not too much because we want to get into the fun parts here. So we are recording this. We will be sharing that, so everybody can look forward to that if you need to bounce off early, or this is of value for you to share with clients, partners, peers, whatever the case may be. You'll be getting a link to the recording, and you can share. We're allotting 30 minutes, including Q&A. So we're trying to make this brief and impactful for everybody so that you can get the value out of it during 30 minutes. Maybe you're eating your lunch, but we're not trying to take up all day. We want high impact in these 30 minutes. You can submit your questions anytime via the Q&A. We have some people helping us to monitor that, so I don't need to monitor that, as well as moderate this and chime in. Someone can help me as those questions come in, so feel free to submit those as we go along. And then lastly, of course, we'll be following up with a survey to get your feedback. So we want to make sure this is of value, well executed, and is the kind of thing you look back and feel like you spent your time well. Okay, that's enough with the housekeeping. Let's meet our experts. So I'm not sure if I'll call myself an expert, but I already introduced myself. For those of you who might not know us, Irish Titan, we're an e-commerce agency. We build and grow e-commerce channels. We do that with a business first, online second mentality. That's our why, to quote Simon Sinek. And if there's one other thing I want everybody to know, we're closed only 2 days a year, St. Patrick's Day and the day after. So with that, let's move along. Erin, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Erin Reese. I lead marketing and partnerships here at Annex Cloud. Annex Cloud is a loyalty technology provider. I've been in the space, the loyalty space, about 2 decades or more. So really excited to be here today to listen to everything that Lindsay has to share about what she's doing on that loyalty front. Lindsay?
Hi, everybody. I'm Lindsay Coleman. I'm the e-commerce manager for Surdyk. If you haven't heard of Surdyk, which I'm guessing most people have not, it is a specialty wine and spirits store in Minneapolis. It's family owned and operated. It's on the 4th generation, and I work very closely with the Surdyk family every day. I started in an admin role, grew up with the website, and I've been working with Darren since about 2017. They introduced us to Annex Cloud, and I'll hand it back to him.
Thank you. Thanks, ladies. And just to level set, kind of, I guess you consider this housekeeping, but a little bit more of a level set for the tech stack that we're using here. So Annex Cloud and Irish Titan have been working together with Surdyk for 2-3 years. We started the project back in 2017, so that's 4 years. But I think that when we really started to pull together the tech stack was 2 to 3 years ago. Surdyk is on a big commerce platform, Annex Cloud for loyalty. We can answer other questions as we go along as to what else constitutes that tech stack, but I think that that's valuable for everybody to understand. And all those tools have worked well. We've been really pleased to work with Surdyk, and Lindsay, quite honestly, is rock star. I've done other webinars with her, and we're in good hands with learning from her. So before we get into some questions for her, and before we talk about some of Surdyk's results, I think I think spark the conversation. Loyalty is fast growing, right? Like, I think 2020 was a year where a lot of merchants re-platformed or launched their sites, and I think that one of the benefits that we're finding in 2021 is that now those merchants are able to invest in the acquisition, conversion, retention side of things, growing their e-commerce sites, not just building them. I think that that's a function of all the investment merchants did last year in those sites, in launching them and replatforming them. I also think it's one of the benefits of some of the newer e-commerce platforms. So in Surdyk's case with BigCommerce, there's lighter lift to get those sites launched than there used to be in some of the e-commerce 1.0 sorts of platforms. That's provided merchants the ability to preserve some budget to invest into acquisition, conversion, retention, loyalty, for example, right? And so we've seen expectations grow in those regards that merchants have. They want that loyalty technology to enable personalization, help brands identify their best customers, deliver those unique experiences, right? Because consumers, online consumers, their experience or their expectations, excuse me, have risen dramatically in the last year. There's tons of data around that. We all know that e-commerce adoption grew dramatically last year. Penetration of the retail space that is comprised by e-commerce, that grew dramatically last year. Both of those thematic summaries have driven expectations up, right? Brand loyalty as a result of that has decreased because consumers are expecting a better experience. And so they'll switch from one brand to another if they're not getting that experience because there are other brands that are providing that experience. And loyalty is one of the ways that you can provide that brand experience. One quick stat, Harvard Business Review reports that companies with strong loyalty programs grow revenue 2.5 times faster and generate up to 400% higher returns. And Lindsay has some stats that would support those sorts of arguments, but we're seeing that. We're seeing that as Irish Titan. I think Annex Cloud is seeing that in their customer base. Merchants are experiencing that, and Lindsay can testify to that firsthand. So with that, I think that let's move on to some of the results that you had at Surdyk. Lindsay, you want to jump in and take over and walk us through what you've experienced here?
Yeah, I mean, so exactly what Darren was saying, you look at these metrics right away. I'm seeing these metrics, everyone's seeing these metrics, and wow, it's really hard not to be encouraged by seeing big increases right off the bat. But if you're like me, you're looking at what the date was that we launched. We launched in July 2020, right in the heart of the pandemic. And we definitely were part of the grocery boom. We were part of the, let's get everything that we can. So yeah, that was something that was definitely happening to us. Let's be honest, everybody was buying toilet paper and alcohol. So I was one of those people. Also, I'm hoping and thinking a lot of people were as well. So, when we saw these numbers, we thought, well, we need to get creative to keep these people around. And how, what can we offer them? What do we have that's special to offer them and keep them around and really see the value? And that answer for us right away, important with launching our website, was having that really strong loyalty experience.
So in these numbers, when you say there's a 40% increase in loyalty members, does that simply mean that the quantity of people participating in your loyalty program grew 40% through the program that you launched with the new website?
Yes. So before we were getting our loyalty customers just right at the register, versus now with the launch of BigCommerce with Annex Cloud, people have the ability to join up, see and learn about the rewards program right from the get-go. Cool. And I think that that's something that they definitely, who doesn't want a little extra something with their purchase? So right. That's something that we thought was really impactful right away.
And then it seems like the behaviors of those loyalty members have been strongly positive. A 30% increase in average order value. That's pretty notable.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I think that we'll continue to see that pattern of people adding more things to their cart because they see that there is something else for them with Surdyk. What we hope to get through our return customers is that, yeah, sure, we sell a lot of specialty products, but we also sell a lot of, let's face it, everyday products too. So, it's our hope that with adding value and incentive with our loyalty program, that they might just wait to buy some of those everyday things until they can make a trip to our store.
And then this last number is very impressive, a 411% increase in order frequency for loyalty members versus non-members. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's just really great numbers, and we hope to continue the trend. Obviously,
Yeah.
2020, what a year. So
no kidding. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that, but why am I not seeing that? There, it's showing up. And we're going to get into a little bit more of a roundtable sort of discussion. So Lindsay, so Surdyk has had a loyalty program for 16 years. What prompted that decision to upgrade to a more robust solution, both your e-commerce project, but loyalty specifically? What prompted that?
Yeah, so we had the basic tools in place. That was basically a brick and mortar loyalty program. And it was really impactful and effective for us for a really long time. It's pretty simple. It was $1 spent is 1 point earned. Once you hit a point threshold, you were mailed a coupon in the form of a postcard once a month at the beginning of the month if your points were at that threshold on that day. So that is something that was people actually really liked, and it worked for a really, really long time. But obviously, as businesses are trying to compete and they're in this digital space, more and more companies have a loyalty program, and that means that the expectations of your customers are just getting higher and higher. So how does a company like Surdyk compete with that? Well, thankfully, we had taken the steps with working with Irish Titan and Annex Cloud to get the ball rolling on something a bit more robust before COVID took everybody online. So we had some pretty specific needs there, I guess. Like, we had a program in place. We wanted to take that program online, make it better, but kind of keep it as it is to keep our customers. And but we listened to them, and we knew that they needed more and wanted some more.
Good.
Love that story, Lindsay, and everything that you're doing with the new program is all about accumulating data too on your customers, right? There's so much now in the news around security or changes in privacy laws, and what does that mean for businesses going forward? So many companies are relying on third-party data to bring in new customers, and I'm not sure that you realize that loyalty is able to bring that first-party data to them that they so desperately need moving forward. So I'd love to hear from you what you guys are seeing with this new solution. What data are you accessing now? How has it enabled you guys to do things differently? And how are your customers responding to what you're doing?
Yeah, so the big thing for us is that before, it was just a points threshold. It was just, you have this cache of points in your account, but it wasn't really helping us to identify who our best and most frequent customers were. So obviously that's the customer that everybody's trying to get, a loyal customer, a repeat customer. And how do you keep those people? How do you keep them engaged? How do you energize them? How do you want them to keep coming back or think of us when there is, competition out there? So we thought that offering those best customers exclusive rewards, that's real value that lets them determine their purchasing power. So one of the changes that we knew we wanted to make right away was doing away with just one coupon a month. Now customers have the power to see what their points value is, and okay, I'm gonna spend it now, or I'm gonna keep my points in my account and use it on something else later on when I need, I want a bigger discount, or I want to use one of the other types of rewards that we offer. So free deliveries, some things like that keep people engaged. So we wanted to really just sort of make it more specific, make it more impactful on a daily basis versus like, here's a coupon once a month. I hope you come in this month. So that was big for us. So being able to identify that and then offer those people those sorts of options, that was really big for us.
So I think that a couple of themes that I am hearing is, one, you shifted from just discounts for loyalty members to more of a mutual value exchange. And I talked earlier about acquisition, conversion, retention, kind of that funnel. And sometimes people have 5 steps in that funnel. I like to think in 3s. It's easier to remember 3 than 5. And what you're focusing on here, and where loyalty really plays, is in that retention part of that funnel, which is really where the most profitable customers are, because you already have them, and it's worth the efforts to keep them because they've already come to you and you're investing in that, right? So walk us through that journey about where you started, but more importantly, how you arrived at that new and improved loyalty program, like what your structure was, what the challenges were, the details and choices along that path.
Yeah, definitely. So something that Surdyk is really focused on, and we try to consistently focus on, also something I think that really sets us apart, is because of our size, we can really focus in on customer service. A lot of the changes and the upgrades that we made were simply listening to what the customers wanted. So we expanded the purchasing power from just $1 earned on wine. At first, we changed that to let's also have earn points on spirits and beer. We did that before we were with Annex Cloud. We saw that people were really happy about that. They came back, they bought more, they added more things to their cart. It's just that simple. So obviously, customers' feedback to us was they're asking us how many points do we have, how they could see their points, how they could track their progress. So that was a big deal for us. Moving on to a digital program was that now people can track their points, see them on a daily basis, engage with them more. So they want to know, well, what do these points mean? So having that all online just now shows them the value. They can see what they're working towards, or they can see what we have coming up, versus before that wasn't there. So that was really important for us. So we had a pretty good idea of what we wanted to accomplish, I think, when we joined up with Annex Cloud, and they just really helped us bring that all to life. They were willing to work with the data that we already had and a customer list that we already had, and how can we engage with them more, grow that list, keep those people coming back, but then obviously add to that as well. So integrating with the website, obviously integrating with point of sale, like bringing all that together was really impactful. So I would say for us, the biggest challenge was change. We had the customer list for, like I said before, 16 years. So it was. You kind of hear, if it's not broke, don't fix it kind of thing. But we also saw a real important way that we could keep the program the same and keep those customers moving on. So it was just kind of committing to making that change and then getting the customers to buy in, which took some time, but we're, on the train now.
I love that, Lindsay. It's not easy for change, but what you guys did is you really elevated the experience. And I think that's what's really key. Customers will understand that. So it's like, wait, it switched, it's a little different. I have to do things a little differently. But I mean, and fortunately, I guess maybe the fact that everybody's life was changing at the same time, we were all having to adapt. And it seems like your customers really adapted with that. You talked a lot about points, and which is often a core of a loyalty initiative. Get people involved, get people interested. Okay, what am I going to get next? Kind of that gamified aspect to it. But today's customer is really looking for more than just points, and they want brands to know what they value and offer things like exclusivity or early access or unique perks. Like, know me, tell me, give me what I really, really want, right? And And I love what you guys have done. You've done some really cool and interesting things here, and really giving access to products, right? That people wouldn't normally have, and it's your redemption pool. Do you want to share a little bit about this? Because I think this is the coolest thing.
Yeah, definitely. Actually, Darren, if you could pull up the screen, that'd be awesome. If you could, so we have, we started a program which we called the Redemption Pool, and basically it was sort of expanding on a similar concept that we saw from a store out of California. For me, kind of the customer feedback and things I hear every day are what I'm seeing, keywords searched on the website every single day are a lot of the allocated bourbons or unicorn bottles, I guess is kind of the term for them that you hear sometimes, that people are really constantly on the hunt for all around the country. Surdyk's already kind of made for a name for itself as a place that you could occasionally find something like that. So we knew that the customer interest was there, and these sorts of items are real occasionally available, but the supply is definitely not meeting the demand. We're getting hundreds of inquiries on these sorts of items a week. No kidding. It really is hundreds. I answered those calls and those questions every day for so many years. So that's not an exaggeration. But one of the things was also for us as a retailer, it's like, how do we get these bottles to our actual customers? You know, there's people hunting for them all the time. And how do we offer that to our best customers? So, you know, since we're a smaller business, that's something that we have the opportunity to do. We're lucky to have a lot of good customers, so we also want to keep it equitable for them. So we workshopped this concept, which Darren's sharing live on our website right now, is a concept I called the redemption pool. So it's not quite a lottery, it's not quite a raffle, but what you do is you use your points to bid on access to these unicorn bottles. So we're planning on having, you know, probably like 4 to 6 pools a year, depending on the availability of the bottles. So we're basically, people can use their points to bid on these different sorts of bottles. So if you have 100 points in your account, you can bid a couple times, you know, 50 points a crack or whatever at these different bottles every year. So you're basically, you're using your points to redeem chances to buy a bottle of, say, Blanton's bourbon. Blanton's is the most searched term on our website. So this was basically a way for us to give our best customers our most coveted items.
There's probably a lot of interest in Blanton's right now with the Kentucky Derby coming up too.
Yeah, exactly. So
Timely.
bourbon, let's be honest, bourbon is in demand all year round. So
True.
So what we're basically doing is, like Aaron was saying, gamify the concept a little bit. It gives people a way to use their points in something that's not just a coupon. And we thought we had a pretty good chance of this being successful, but it exceeded expectations for sure. So we have this live on our website a few times a year. We send email. Darren had an email was sharing the email from us, I think, a little bit ago. Yeah. So just something I wanted to point out with the emails in particular is that we kind of talked about metrics earlier. And you see these like huge stats. Well, something like for me that everybody wants is that open email rate. You know, how do you get people open? So when we launched the redemption pool, it's been growing every time. In our last redemption pool, we had a 42% open rate on our email announcing it, which is just, I mean, that's really big.
That's a strong open rate. That's a strong open rate.
Yeah. So on the next slide, we had a thanks for playing email, and that had an 82% open rate. So those are the sorts of things that you just that's a real quantifier. Like people are coming back, like you've got people engaged when you see stats like that. Like,
and that's how you reinforce your brand in these times where there's a elevated expectation on behalf of consumers with decreased brand loyalty, right? Like investing in these sorts of interactions and this sort of loyalty program, especially with the creativity, really, I think increases that brand loyalty. I think that here's some of the stats you've seen about the redemption pool. You want to talk us through that?
Yeah. So what we're really seeing is that there's a real consistent use of points, but then you see a giant spike. Well, that's the first day, that's the first week of the redemption pool. That to us means that people are holding on to their points to use for that. What's so great about that is that there's for us, we're still selling something at the end. We have an answer like, no, we don't have that right now. Like now it's like, oh, well, here's some information about our loyalty program. That's what you want. Here's how you get it. Join our rewards program. So we have, I think that reflection of the points redeemed on the first week really shows incredibly well that people want that.
Yeah.
Highly engaged.
Very, very much so. So I'll as I shut off the sharing there, we have just a couple of questions left before, and I know we're going to run slightly long here, but just Lindsay, walk us through what challenges you're seeing now and what ideas you might have for that next stage of your loyalty evolution.
Yeah, so obviously I think I was just talking about email, like email, like how can we offer more personalized emails? So I think that's kind of our next big step is getting, obviously we have engagement here. So how do we take that engagement and parlay it into other things? So I think we'll just continue to listen to our customers. We listen to them, we're seeing great results. So I think like for us, like, let's just take that engagement data and use it to have a bigger impact.
Great. Erin, anything you'd like to chime in on?
I think this has just been, it's an amazing story. Lindsay, you guys have come really far in a short time. And I think it's super exciting. One of the things I always like to do at the end of these things are, what do you have some advice for other people getting started?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I keep saying it, but listen to your customers. Your customers are going to give you the ideas that you really need to succeed if you listen to them and take that into consideration when you're making your decisions. That's always been something that we try to do. And so I think that's really the best advice I have. Start early. Don't be afraid to change. Don't be afraid to mess it up a little bit. So I think that's what I would say for sure. Yeah.
And then last question before we wrap up, it was submitted by the audience. There was also a question submitted that Erin asked as well around how to start. But any KPIs come to mind real quickly to measure ROI and the success of the loyalty program? Any KPIs that you've started to develop or refine?
Yeah, I think for KPIs, we're just going to be looking at. We want return customers. We want to keep that going. That to us, I think, is really the main draw, is getting people back to the site. And we want people to continue back to the site. Obviously, like we were talking about, everybody's stuck at home, everybody's shopping online. So we're going to continue to watch that as 2021 goes on, and watch people's buying habits and how they change, and shift that around. Like, are people still interested in whiskey? I think so, but what else can we add? What else can we offer? How else can we develop that kind of ownership of the points and brand? Great.
So we're a few minutes over, 3 minutes, which isn't too bad, but yet we want to respect everybody's time. So we're going to wrap up here. Last slide, just to reinforce our contact info. All of us are pretty easy to find. I think everybody on this webinar knows how to use LinkedIn or go to someone's website, right? But I can be reached at darren.lynch@Irish Titan. Erin, do you want to share the best way to reach you?
Sure. LinkedIn works as well, as you just said, and annexcloud.com works as well. Lindsay,
what if people want to get a hold of you and learn from the true source?
Yeah, for sure. My email's there. Surdyk, just hit the contact us on surdyk.com. That
And that goes to you, huh?
That usually makes its way right to me anyway. So go ahead and shoot me a note there. No problem. I'm happy to talk about whiskey. Obviously, I have a lot to say about whiskey specifically. So,
Yeah.
All right,
Well, and
that's
so am
the
I.
next session.
Right.
yeah, right.
So Lindsay, thank you so much for sharing your perspective. It was great to be able to go deep with you and understand everything that you've done to build this loyalty program. The redemption pool is a super cool concept. I think you're really demonstrating the value of investing in that part of e-commerce too, not just the build side, but the growth side, and even more specifically that retention part of the funnel. So thank you for sharing all those insights.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me. It was fun to talk about.
Congratulations, Lindsay. Thank you.
Aaron, thanks to you and the Annex Cloud team. You guys have been great to work with.
Yeah,
Looking
awesome.
forward to more of that. And we'll go ahead and sign off now. So thanks everybody for joining. Hope it's a good use of your time. Look for the survey and the link. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate it.